This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
You are what you watch.
Hello, my name's Harriton Watko. Welcome to our program. Well, it's a week after the APEC, so I guess we can all say now back to normal, back to work. There's a lot of talk against the APEC. There's a lot of good talk for it. Either way, let's hope for the best for the future and moving forward. Ladies and gentlemen, last week we saw what we call the gargantuan reservations made in multiple hotels because of the APEC. But if you only knew, a week, 2 weeks before that, the Rotary group, the Rotary clubs, had their own gatherings at the very same hotel President Barack Obama stayed in. We're talking about the Sofitel. You'd be surprised about the numbers that they took. Between the two groups, between the APEC and the Rotary, you'd be surprised. I guess the Sofitel Hotel can now just take the rest of the month off. Now, if only we could take the rest of the month off after one whole week. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to do a slightly different show. I'm not going to complain about the politics, the yellow fever, or whatever else. I'm not going to brag about other things or criticize anyone and whatnot. We'll talk about the good news. It's about time that we look forward towards what is good, what's going good for our country, for our people, and especially those who are making a dent, people who go out of their way to actually do what we call inclusive growth. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the Rotary. I know you know about the Rotary. It's all over the country, in every city, municipality, every province. There is a Rotary club right there for you. This international group does nothing but commit themselves to the improvement, the growth of all the countries, the communities, and basically human beings. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us the president first of the Makati North. We have Deiter Bruckner. He has been here before. He's been my guest. He used to do corporate social responsibility. And to tell you the truth, he's still doing it. He's still preaching it. He's still teaching it. And he is actually living it. And we have the past district governor. We've got Eduardo Alvarez, a man of many talents, many titles, many dispositions in life, and a hell of a lot of responsibility. And now he's actually with what we call the Rotary Zone Institute. We'll explain what that is, and the title being the Manila Institute, if I'm not, Manila Rotary Institute. Is that right? Correct, Governor?
That's right.
Bakit ganun? I don't understand. Why is it Manila Rotary Institute when we have Deiter here, who's Makati North? I mean, that's two different clubs in two different districts. Correct me if I'm wrong, yeah.
Well, actually, Manila, it's called Manila Rotary Institute because Manila is the host for the institute. The institute is an annual event being held in chosen country. We hosted the last event in 2009 in the Philippines.
So you're like an APEC. It moves from place to place to place.
That's right. So it was our chance now to host it again in 2015. We host it every 5-6 years.
Does it also cost 10 billion?
No, not really.
Ahead.
But
That's just a dig.
annually, we have what you call a Rotary International Convention. That's being held in a chosen place. Like this year, it was held in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's too far from many countries, so very few could attend.
2 days for us to fly there.
That's right. It takes about, normally there are about 25,000 people attending the convention. But since it is Sao Paulo, there were only about 14,000 who attended.
Still a big number.
Yes, next year it will be in Seoul, Korea.
Marami yan.
We expect more than 50,000 to attend.
Whoa.
And in between the convention, there is what you call an institute. The institute is designed really for Rotary leaders all over the world, especially from the area, to get together, to know more the updates about Rotary, to have a fellowship among themselves, and to have joint projects.
But does the institute generate policy, design, direction for Rotary International? Not necessarily.
Not really, but the Rotary leaders attending the institute, they make proposals that are eventually sent to the Rotary International Board. And that's what we did also last.
So it's a recommending body that gets together.
We come up with resolutions that we present to the board to adopt if they wish to.
Okay. And the presidents are invited as well, except not the regular Rotarian. Is that correct, Deiter?
Yeah.
You get involved with them.
Yes, it is intended to presidents and to district officers who are eager to get more Rotarized, to get more involved.
Wow, that's a new word, Rotarized. Gee.
Yeah. And I believe one of the main opportunities of the Rotary Zone Institute was to exchange ideas and activities among representatives from the several districts who came to Manila to celebrate the Zone Institute. For example, to discuss about the Rotary ethics, the four-way test, the different Rotary projects we have in place, one of those being the WASH project suggested by Rotary International. Water and sanitation and hygiene,
Okay.
especially directed toward children in schools to promote, to inform, to educate about the importance of having hygiene practiced every day, together with having potable water available.
That's not very far from the international objectives, for example, in this APEC group. It's called inclusive growth. Inclusive growth, the ability to bring up the people from poverty or whatever poverty line, a specific measure bringing them up, together with the rest of the economics that seem to be going forward. Is this correct, Governor?
Yes, it's, of course, here we're all talking about community development. Rotary now has 6 areas of focus. And community and economic development is one of the focus. Water and sanitation is a focus.
That's a charity. Can we call that charity? It is, isn't it?
Yeah,
But
some sort of, yes.
It's charity, yeah.
But so we are trying to put all our resources together to help. And of course, Philippines is among the receiving end.
That's the hard part. Now, with all these new movements around the world, the G20 meeting in Europe, the G8, the different countries coming together, and now even they're trying to put together the TPP. There's so many different groups. After we had the APEC, the different leaders of multiple countries went to Malaysia and went on for the summit. Plus, we have our own here in Southeast Asia. We have the ASEAN. What is it? The common goal basically is inclusive growth, to go further and to bring everybody together with the growth. Rotary has always been on this path, way before all these countries have been trying to put it together, meaning the improvement of human conditions. But it seems charity, like Deiter always put it to me in the past, the CSR,
Yeah.
CSR, corporate social responsibility, if you're going to base it on charity, cannot be sustaining. It's a one-time give. Here, have this, right? But sustaining the ability to maintain it, to improve it, to keep it going. Isn't that more or less the direction Rotary International is where it wants to go?
Yes, that's why now all the grants, all the global grants, what we call the global grants now, are focused only on 6 areas of focus, and it has to be sustainable. And the amounts are very big.
It has to be sustainable.
Sustainable.
That's the key word, isn't
That's right.
it?
You cannot present projects that are not so sustainable. It has to be sustained through the years, basically with training of personnel.
So education-based.
And the amounts are big. The minimum amount of grant now is about $30,000 US.
Ba, mabigat na.
Yes, and we have our district, we both belong to District 3830. This would be comprised of Makati, Parañaque, Las Piñas, Taguig, Pateros, Muntinlupa, and
Palawan.
province of Palawan,
Yes.
yes. And we are normally again on the receiving end, and we have over millions of grants that we have received.
And this money cannot just be spent frivolously or what we call charity, because it's not going to go anywhere. I mean, it's like the street children. You wipe them off the street to have the APEC pass by and then bring them back on again. Hindi naman pwedeng ganun,
No,
di ba?
no, no,
If
not
I'm
such thing.
Kasi to begin with, Rotary is not politicized. You have no political color. You do not endorse anything. Can we call it an NGO?
Yeah, it is an
It's
NGO.
an NGO, but an NGO that's committed basically to no political color or any local government funding. You're not dependent on local government when it comes to any project. It's the other way around.
Definitely, yes.
It's the other way around. How does Rotary stay out of politics? It's amazing. Difficult. If I was the governor, for example, of a province, or a mayor or a congressman, it would be to your advantage to be high up in the Rotary ladder, more or less, to meet the business leaders of the communities for help, endorsement, donation, if necessary. But for some reason, Rotary has always stayed out of politics. Very successfully, mind you, in the last, since I've known about it.
Harry, if I might intercede in the point, every president of the club is very much independent in choosing his projects of service to the community around the Rotary Club.
You're not dictated upon.
They are not dictated at all. Rotary International suggests 6 avenues of service. But every president can decide with his club in which specific projects he wishes to serve the community.
Can I endorse this to Malacanang? Let's change government, put Rotary there. Things will run better. I mean, that's what you call inclusive growth. Tell us about the Manila Institute, sir.
Well, the Manila Institute that we just had, we had 1,231 registrants.
Jeez,
from,
it's 100,000.
No, 1,231.
1,231 registrants, participants, yes.
These are Rotary leaders from all over the world.
Okay.
We had about 25 countries represented. This is a zone institute comprising of 3 zones: 6B, 7A, and 10B. 6B would be the areas like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and others in that region. 7A is Philippines and Indonesia, and 10B would be Hong Kong, Macau, Mongolia, and Taiwan.
There's a sort of a segregation or based on topography,
Yes.
how it's cut apart.
So we had 16 countries, but still we had Rotary International dignitaries attracted to join our institute. We had 18 Rotary International dignitaries who came in.
Oh.
We had 2 past Rotary International presidents. We have the next 2 presidents. The John Germ, who is supposed to be president from July 2016.
2 years, president-elect.
And the year after, Ian Risley from 2017 to 2018 were both here. Plus again, 2 past RI president, past President Wilt Wilkinson, and past President Gary Wang. There are 17 Rotary International directors all over the world now. We had 6 out of the 17 who came here and
that's pretty
attended.
good.
We had 7 other past directors who came here, just to show you how attractive it was. And so Rotary leaders from all these places really came for this. Actually, the Rotary Institute is designed for governors. But
it's for governors.
But it's only in our zone that other than governors, the presidents and the district officers are invited. That's why it's bigger compared to other zone institutes. In other zones institute, they only have anywhere from 200 to 500.
Why is it in the Philippines we have it that way when it's supposed to be a poorer country, a developing country, a growing country, and yet we have more participants?
Well,
Mayayaman ng Rotarians.
yes.
But
Well,
go ahead.
actually, it's really more of the interest of the past presidents or future
The initiative
presidents.
of the past governors. They're the
to-
ones who get very involved. I realize that. I noticed that Rotary is time out of a person. It's out of money. You're out of money, you're out of time, and you're out of sight. I mean, it really takes a lot out of you. And if you're not willing to give, there's no way you can be a accredited Rotarian in heart.
Yes, in fact, what they say, you have to give your three T's: talent, time, and treasure,
Jesus Christ.
to be a member of
All
the
the time.
organization.
Well, we know the people in government will never be in Rotary.
No, you will be surprised that there are.
No, don't answer that because that was a trick critique question. Let's leave the politics out. Is Rotary succeeding internationally before we even come to the Philippines? Are we succeeding? It's been around decades. Rotary's been there. It's known worldwide.
Century, over a century.
Can you imagine a century?
We, the Rotary International established in 1905.
Okay, so
So,
over a century. So you're talking 10 decades.
And in the Philippines, we're celebrating our 100 years in 2019.
Wow, fantastic. Malapit na.
And yes, Rotary is succeeding, although we're not growing as much. There are about 1.2 million Rotarians all over the world. But we
It's
have
not
more,
very much, is it, with 8 billion people?
not much,
is it?
but we have more countries or geographical locations more than the United Nations.
Next, we're going to set up a United Nations for Rotarians. I mean, that's not too far-fetched, is it? But is it succeeding if you were to put any measure regardless, since it's not really for who's better, good, better, best. But Rotary is succeeding worldwide?
Yes, actually, the biggest success is actually polio.
Polio. Rotary is the one who eradicated it.
Yes, in 1979, we introduced polio as a project to Rotary. It became a 3H grant. It started in the Philippines, here in Makati.
You're kidding, really? As the
Yes,
Philippines
here
in Makati,
in
pa?
Makati, and in 1985, it was adopted as a worldwide project of Rotary International. And
And
the
it wiped it out.
Yes, and the Rotary Foundation has been funding this over $2 billion all in all together, together with, of course, help from private sector. And the target is by 2018, polio will be wiped out.
We've already wiped it out, except
In the Philippines, yes, as
in
early as
other countries.
2001. Right now, we only have Afghanistan and Pakistan.
Ionila, they don't want to be inoculated.
No,
For
I
some
mean,
people.
we're still hoping that it could be, but like Nigeria was just free from polio the last few months. So, and if no polio will incur in Nigeria within the next 3 years, it will already be called polio-free.
Can you imagine? Now the next one would be to eradicate malaria. Could we do it with dengue? And then let's go with ISIS. Eradicate ISIS.
Don't forget tuberculosis.
Yes, tuberculosis.
That's a
it's still
very-
it's still a big problem, health
And
problem.
growing, and growing.
And Rotary International, you have to go with one direction, or else you can't be all over the place. But to a certain extent, it is, isn't it? I mean, you have water projects, you have health projects, sanitation, livelihood, that I know of on local government or in the local areas.
They decided to limit it to what you call 6 areas of focus. But
This is the 6 areas.
But most of the projects will fall under the 6 areas of focus. This, as I said, it's a peace and conflict resolution, water and sanitation, maternal and child health, disease prevention and treatment, economic and community development, and basic education and literacy.
Inclusive growth. How does that stand with the BBL? Conflict resolution. That's a bit difficult
Good
right
point.
there.
Yes,
No,
but-
that's difficult.
One of the topics we discussed was peace and conflict resolution in the last institute, and we had a very interesting discussion on how Rotarians really can help.
I would imagine they would be the best people to intervene since there's no political color. Conflict resolution, but not an easy topic to identify, very difficult to resolve. I mean, we now have the biggest conflict resolutions. It's called the China incursions in our water.
Water.
How do you resolve this? I mean, this is not easy. And yet we have Rotarians in China. Other than governments, if you were to reach into every country, there would be Rotary leaders inside these very countries. If it wanted to, it could actually even, how do you say that? Discuss international peace in the world. Could not. I mean, we noted it with the United Nations. Yun na lang ang kulang ng Rotary, it seems, since it's being represented more than the United Nations. If only that could happen, difficult, wouldn't it? Then
Yeah,
again,
not
another
easy.
political question,
Not
so
easy.
difficult to answer.
Yeah, not easy.
Not easy. Na. Do you have that problem when you meet with other Rotarians of different countries?
No, not at all.
Civility is first and foremost.
Yes, you'll be surprised even representatives from warring nations are very cordial to each other
Yun na nga eh.
during Rotary events.
How does that happen? Here, the president comes, Noy doesn't smile at him. It's very stiff, and we can all understand why. I don't want to critique any longer the president or APEC. But that was a very fragile stand up together and let's hold hands. And very difficult, I mean, with what's going on around the world. But Rotary could actually do this, couldn't it? Funny as it is, it actually does good. I mean, your objectives are one and the same as governments. The 6 platforms are almost one and the same, more or less. You ask for inclusive growth, peace, science, innovation, education. It's the same thing.
In the provinces, actually, we work hand in hand with government. A lot of government officials are Rotarians. And yes,
Pero how do you eliminate the political color?
we just don't discuss politics. We just work on the welfare of the citizens of that particular places. But most of the Rotarians in the provinces, when we go around, the past presidents, even some past the governors, are governors of their provinces, mayors, and other officials.
How is the growth of the clubs now all over, at least in our country? Is Rotary growing in membership?
Not really growing as much. As far as Philippines is concerned, we have about 23,000 Rotarians.
Is that small? Is that a big number?
It's big compared to other countries. Let me relate. My area covers Zone 7A. That's Philippines and Indonesia. Philippines has 100 million population. There are about
Yes.
23,000 Rotarians.
Okay.
Indonesia has 250 million population. There are about 2,400 Rotarians.
Malaking bagay pala.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
the
So,
ratio is very big.
We're big. In Rotary, we're big. Even our donations, Philippine donation would be among the top 20 in the world.
So we are a very active country when it comes to Rotary.
Harry, let's not forget, we businessmen, we are Rotarians by heart because we wish to service. We wish to serve to the community. But basically, we are businessmen. We have our full-time occupation in our businesses. So therefore, what you were conversing earlier, how would the Rotary be very active in the peace and resolution, conflict
Yes.
solving? Well, mainly we are businessmen, and we are not full-time politicians or negotiators for that effect. I believe
Gentlemen,
that
we're going to have to take a short break. There you go. There is a slight difference between politics. Maybe the word politics has been bedeviled, or maybe we should just cross it out altogether and change the word let's Rotarize, meaning let's get together and become human rather than dehumanizing. There we go. You see, you have one and the exact same objective, except without the word politics. That really destroys everything else. Sad, I can't bring in all that criticism I want to do, and but I promised I'm going to be a good boy in this show, so we're going to stay with the Rotary. Stay with us. When we get back, we will tackle the other issues Rotary has in front of them, and without fear, no favor, they're just going forward, and they're going to achieve what it is they've set out as the objective. Stay with us.